YouTube. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys the updates I've done to the car because this thing is getting real serious at this point. I've made some changes to the car that some of you guys might not agree with, but hey, I'm learning in my car so I can basically trying out different things. So what I ended up doing is the floor is completely out. There is no parts of the floor left in the car. My goal is to, when I build the cage, I want to be able to lift the body off the car completely, weld the whole cage out without the body on, and then place the body back on. That's similar to like a tube chassis, but instead I still have the stock frame under here. And the reason I'm going to keep the stock frame at this point, because I already made all of this in here. So to start over with a tube chassis, I'm not going to do that. Pretty much this car is still going to be kind of sort of on the drag and drive aspect of it. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started and show you guys. And also, I appreciate all of the like, comments, subscribes that I'm getting on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Just continue to keep sharing the videos um, of me building this cage. And thanks for everything. All right, YouTube. So like I was saying, we have a lot of changes that has gone on here. So as you can see, I got the driver's seat done. The passenger seat mounts are done. I don't know if you guys seen, but I did remove the transmission tonal. I removed that, but we're more likely going to be putting it back. I still have the piece for it. It's actually on the other side of the car. I'll show you guys that. So we have it right over here. That's the transmission tonal. And then back there is the floor. That's on the shelf right there. But pretty much, we cut the floor out completely to the point the side of the body is flat. Has a little bit of parts on it that's, kind of sticking out, but I have the whole side flat. Even cut this mount out, but I did keep this mount, so not really worried about that. The mount back here, I might do something off the body to mount it, but on both sides, pretty much, if I was to lift the body up now with the cage in here, I'll be able to do that. We will not be running this dash because if I ran this dash, the way I want the bars to be, I want them to sit back into here. And as you can see here, if it was in there like that, it'll be hitting the bottom of this dash. So we're not going to run this dash. I'm going to do a halo in the top. So then the bars will run down here and connect to a bar that runs across. So we're not going to use this dash. Also, this dash is heavy. As you guys remember, this is not a built motor. The other motor that I'm going to be building will be a built motor. So as light as possible as I can, we're going to do that. I have the burst panel coming real soon. And then I'm going to go ahead and do stainless steel. All right, so like I was saying, I'm going to go ahead and do stainless steel for the exhaust. Maybe. I'm still undecided on that. I just kind of don't want the blow-off valves to have stainless steel and then that to be aluminum. But we'll decide once I get to that point. I already bought the material for that too. But like I was saying, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this dash. This dash would be up for sale if somebody wanted to purchase it. You have to be in the North Carolina area. I'll probably go ahead and sell this for about $150 to $150. We're going to go ahead and do the fiberglass dash. We already have the dash mount on the, as you see back there, we have the dash mount on the steering wheel column. That's the parachute mount right there. So we really don't need the dash mount to be on the dash. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. But like I said, it'll be tubes that'll come up, and then there'll be a bar that come across, and then the tubes from the top of the halo down will connect. And as you see, you guys see light back there. I did do it. I went ahead and cut the back bed out because all of this was metal. I still have it, so I can always put it back. But this is gonna make it easier to build a cage. That's my little drawings I was doing to kind of like decide on how I'm gonna do it. But I have the whole back half exposed so that I can just run my tubes how I want to. And then there will be a block off plate, well, some steel that'll come in here, cover this back up to separate the two sides. But I just wanted to get all my bars ran perfectly how I want it first, and then we'll go from there. And then we'll work on putting the X in this here and the X down here. And then I also cut it out through here because that's the parachute mount. And then this is the back half bar. So I'm gonna probably put an X through here also. And then this is where the fuel cell will be. And then yeah, we're just gonna cover this back up. We're gonna get our steel mini tubs for this. And then just make this a whole flat piece. I didn't really like the ruggedness of this, how it goes like that. So I just want a whole flat piece, and there won't be any bars coming out the back or at the top. When I read the book, and which I'll show you guys, the SFI book says all bars can be bent unless specifically says it cannot be. So when we get the main hoop in here, I'm going to go ahead and from the top of the main hoop, I'm going to bend it, have it come through here, and then it will come out here and come back to the upper control line mount. So what I'm trying to decide is it's going to come through here, bend this way, and it's either I'm going to land it on the top of here or I'm going to attach it to here. But I'm also going to have bars that run from here to the back of the main hoop and then from there up, which is the 15, and I think those are 18, the two 18 bars. So pretty much the whole frame will be tied in together. The body will sit back on it. It'll be mounted. The mounts are still back there here, also there, and then there's also a mount here and there. This mount here, I might just build something that'll connect it, and then back there I'll build it to connect it. So the body will still be connected, like factory kind of, but everything will be tied in. All right, YouTube. So like I was saying, this is my this is bin tech. So I have it where that it'll show me all the bins I need, the location, the degree, and then also it'll show, let me see, I could show you guys the bin order. So I could view it from the top, and then what it'll do is it'll show you where the cage need to be bent at. So let me zoom in here so you guys have a better look. So bend there, bend there, bend and bend, and that'll be the cage. I also, so as you see, I have the points of where I need to bend it. I might decrease this here to 53 so that it'll all line up together. I don't want the cage to be too wide because then you can't take the body off. So I might just do it just like that. And then I have it where that it has the wall thickness of the tube, the center line radius for my die, and I put a true 1 5/8 die because the other way I calibrated it wasn't correct. So now I have it calibrated real good. All right, YouTube. So also, like I was saying about the where it specifically said, unless otherwise specified, all tube components may be bent or angled. So that's going to allow me to bend my my back bars. Let me see if I can get to that point. So this here, I'll be able to bend these. But see these here, I think that's 1.5 inches as far as the dimension, I mean the size of tube that is. I won't be running 1.5 inches, it'll be 1 5/8 inches. So like I was saying, this calls for 1.5 inches, 0.58, which is right here, but I'm going to be running 1 5/8 inches for that. So basically the cage will be built just like this. So right now we're going to be making the main hoop, which is this here. And then inside here I could go smaller, which I might do. Down here I could either do 1.5 inches, but I'm also going to do 1 5/8 inches for that too, because it's going to an 1 5/8 inches bar here. Or I may not. I might just leave these. I might go ahead and do, because see the yellow is for 1.5 inches and the green/red is 1.5 inches or 2x2, which I'm not doing 2x2. So 1.5 inches or 65 for both of those. So I might make this whole intersection 1.5 inches, possibly. I don't know just yet, because there'll probably be some bars that come from back here and go back. So we'll see about that. But pretty much I'm gonna make my cage just like this here. Pretty much like you guys already know, we already did the floor section of it. I already have that ran, even though I have a number 1 bar and I have 2 number 1 bars, but they're connected, so I mean, shouldn't hurt anything. But we're gonna go ahead and build a cage just like this. All right, YouTube. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Get my tubing bender out. My tubing bender, I actually put some new wheels on it because it was hard to move around when I had the other wheels on it, because they sucked, to be honest with you. So we're gonna go ahead and get the tubing bender out. All right, YouTube. So like I was saying, we have the locations of the bend supposed to start. One thing I did learn is my tube bender, when I put it on that exact location, it bends 1 inch from the bend starts 1 inch past the bend. Excuse me. Like I was saying, the bend starts 1 inch past where I started it. So I'll show you guys on a piece that I did the other day, which was this one here. So one more, let's see. So what ended up happening is I started the bend on this mark here, because you got to leave some material out here for the clamp on the tube clamp. So I started on the die. The tip of the die was on here, but as you see right here, the bend started on the 4th one. So these are 1 inch pieces, 1 inch sections. So every 1 inch I measured. So this is like a 60 degree. So that's one. So I put the end of the die here and it started there. And then it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because it's the end of the bend, well, it actually stops here. So it took, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually 7. It took 7 inches of material. But I would say the bend started here. So really you're just counting where it ends. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So with mine is basically saying that every inch is 10 degrees of a bend. So that's kind of like what this section right here is going to be, just like this. So this is a 60 degree, and from what it's telling me, right there, 60 degree bend. But far as my tubing, it kind of rubbed off, but it takes 5 degrees over what it's asking. So when you look at this here, I'll be bending that to 35, 65, 65, 35. Okay? So I'll go ahead and mark out my tube just like I did here. What I use to mark out the tube is I have the interior tools. I have this here. So what I do with this, I just take all of the points out. Like I was saying, I take all of the sticks out of it, and I just place this on the tube, this is 1 5/8, as you guys see there. So I place this on the tube, and then I make my marking around the whole tube. So no matter what, I'll know. And then the for the actual tube, to keep it in the same plane, let me see. Can't find it right now. I have this here. So you put this on the tube. How I'm gonna have it like that on the tube, and then I'm actually gonna use this here, attach it to the top. It's kind of hard to do this with one hand. Attach this on the top, and you'll be able to get all of your degrees. So that's how I'm gonna do that. So I can keep it all on the same plane, because as you see here, for all of these bends, their rotation is 0. So they're all on the same plane. I don't really like using this because it sometimes be acting finicky. So I use that type of tube. So let's go ahead and get that started. All right, YouTube, we're gonna work on the first measurement, which is gonna be 24 inches. So we're gonna start from here. We're gonna go 24 inches. Our next measurement, I actually need to switch my marker, will be 38 inches. So our first one is 24. The next one will be 38. Actually, no. 24, and then it'll be 38 3/4. Next one will be 73 1/4. No, 73 and yeah, 73 1/4. Next dimension will be 91. All right, YouTube. So now we're going to make the mark for all the way around. All right, so our first point is here. Like I said, we're just gonna make sure that it is leveled. All right. And we're gonna move this back to that first point. Line that up with that die. I'm gonna make sure this is leveled again. And it is. I'll twist that on there. We have that zeroed out. Have this zeroed out. We have it inside of the die. I'm gonna go ahead and add this to it. Oh, wrong side. YouTube, like I was saying, we went ahead and got everything set up. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna make sure that we are on the top of the mark that I have. All right, we got it on 0. So like I said, we're gonna go 5 degrees past what it's telling us. It's telling us 30 degrees. So we're gonna bend this to 35 degrees. Bend this to 35 degrees. As you guys know, I live here in North Carolina. It is cold right now while I'm doing this. But I mean, that ain't gonna stop me from being in the garage. So we're gonna go ahead and get that started. So we're gonna go 35 degrees past, well, we're gonna just go to 35 degrees. And I know that air compressor needs some time to recuperate. So I'm gonna go to about, I think I can make it all the way to 35. And then the next one will be 65. Then it'll be 65 and 35. All right, YouTube, so as you can see here, we have it at the 30 degree mark. Can't really get up in there, but it's right there. So we have it at the 30 degree mark. So that's our first bend. And I went 6 degrees over because, yeah, just a little tad bit. It's a little bit under 30. It's on 30, but a little bit under. So I went 6 degrees over. So now we're going to go ahead and move up to this point, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do 66 degrees for this to go back to 60. All right, YouTube. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and move it up to this point. So we can go ahead and do 65 degrees. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do now. And then I'm going to also put this back to 0. So what we're going to do now is we're going to push this back. I'm going to go ahead and unhinge this. First I need to move this over. So we're going to go ahead and unhinge it to that point there. And then we're going to go ahead and let the cylinder rotate back some more. So let me go on the other side of this so we can get it done. All right. And then we're going to release this. We're going to release it. We're going to move it up to the next point. And like I said, see how I got it bending right here? Like I told you guys before, it'd be about 1 inch away. So at this point, we're going to slide this up till it meets the die, which is about right here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put this keeper back on. Like I said, it doesn't really matter that it's rotating because I can go ahead and get it back to where it needs to be. The only reason why somewhat it matters is because I have to make sure it's still in the die where I lined it up. So we're going to go ahead and get that going. Go ahead and knock this back out. We have to make sure it stays where it needs to be, which is there. All right. And then we just need to zero out this here, the 0. And then we're going to tighten this. We're going to do 60 degrees for this here. YouTube, we have that bend at 60 degrees. So like I said, that's 35, that is 60. This one is going to be 60, and then that'll be 35. All right, YouTube, as you see here, we have our main hoop. Have it standing up on its own. We did a pretty good job. So our next thing is we have to go ahead and get it fitted up in here. More than likely what I'm going to do is, I know that one end should be a little bit taller than the other. We can actually check that with this here, with the angle finder, to see if it's level. And actually, as you guys can see there, it is level. So we have the main hoop dead level with each other. So the only thing we need to do now is go ahead and get in the car. The bottoms may have to cut down, possibly, but we'll see once we get in the car. All right, YouTube, so as you guys can see, I'm gonna go ahead and get this main hoop placed up in there. I still have the seat installed, which I did that on purpose because I don't want to take the seat out. So we're gonna try to get the main hoop up in there. Let's see how we did. All right, so we have it in there. The only thing I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to kind of like push it back out a little bit more. I probably bent it a little bit too much as far as the degrees. So I may have to push it back out a little bit, but we have it up in there. As you can see here, it's in line with the #1 bar. And then we're gonna see we're closing the door. So it's not really hidden, like the bar is not like totally behind the like you can still see it. Again, that's based off it being in line with the #1 bar, which is there. So it's lined up on both sides with that. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm probably gonna have to tack one side in the middle and then pull the other side out some to get that side tacked in. All right, YouTube, so like I said, we got it in there. Just like that. And like I said, over in this corner, yeah, in this corner right here, I'm gonna have the halo come up and around on both sides. I feel like on one side it's a lot closer, but like I said, on the other side I have to spread it out because I guess I have it. I put 53. I should have kept it with 54 on the outside, which would have moved it over an inch. But I mean, I can pull it over an inch, so I don't really think that'd be too much of an issue. We got some space up here, and then for the down bars, it'll be kind of like in that corner, along with the halo. So it'll be in that corner right there, and it'll go down and dip behind the area in that area right there. It'll dip behind and go to the back half. So like I said, it's in there pretty good. I like it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and tack it in because most of the things I'm gonna just go ahead and tack it all together. Because what I'll end up doing is, like I told you guys earlier in the video, I'm gonna have the body be taken off of the frame completely so that I can, everything that's tacked will be welded in complete. I'm gonna get rid of this dash, and maybe in the next video, also the bar that's gonna run across, I'm actually gonna have it, I'm actually gonna follow what the book says with it being 1.5 inches, because all of that in the middle will be 1.5 inches, going back will be 1.5 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with that. I'll probably need about 10 foot to do all of that. So I'll go ahead and get that. So probably 10 foot of 1.5 inches, and then we'll just go from there. Get the funny car part of it done so that all of that will be good. We have enough space where The down bars will come through here and come down to the front piece. And then we'll add the braces and like the halo and everything like that. I really don't have to add those braces because I'll be able to weld it all the way around the way that I'm going to have it inside of the car where I can lift the body up. So I probably don't need to add the braces, but I'm going to add them anyway. But yep. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and get started with tacking one side on. I'm going to try to pull it as much as I can, but I'm going to go ahead and tack one side on, and then we'll go from there. All right, YouTube. So we're looking back at the rules. So this section here talks about the down bars, which if the material used is 1 5/8, 083, 4130 chrome moly, 2 bars of any length are required, and it tells you to see figure C. I'm going to actually be doing figure A, but that only requires 1.5 bars, which as you can see here. And it also says 2 bars 30 inches or less must attach within 5 inches from the top of the main hoop. So from the top of the main hoop, which will be at this point right there, if you go down 5 inches, it's a little bit above this right here. And I'll go ahead and show you guys that. All right, YouTube, I'm gonna try to do this with just one hand. All right, so from the top of the main hoop, which is at this point, 5 inches down is right where that line is. So as long as I attach a bar in this area, if it was 1.5 inches, it'll be okay. It just has to be less than 30 inches. But from what these rules say, it says that if the material used is 1 5/8, 083, 4130, bars of any length are required. So, like I said, I'm going to still follow the rule of within 5 inches. So the down bars will start somewhere in this area here, and it'll come down, it'll dive back over here, come around, and I'll have it either hit the top of this here or right on this corner right here. And then we're going to have bars that come back from the number, I think that's 15 bar that comes back to the top of here anyway. But yeah, those down bars are either hit the top of here, or actually I'm only going to keep on. So here or there. But I really don't have to do within 5 inches of it. But I'm going to stick to that just so I can make sure. And that book right there is for 25.5. This one is 25.2. This doesn't require down bars at all. So I know 25.3 does. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do 1 5/8 and still have it attached as if it was that rule for the 1.5 inches. All right, YouTube. So as you can see here, we have the main hoop in, and I still have space where that when I take the body up, it won't really touch the main hoop. And I did that on purpose for when I take the body off. And I have the space in between both sides where that is enough. I might go ahead and stick some like filler gauges or pieces of something in between like this here, just so that I know that it's enough space. Let me see what I'm going to use. So YouTube, I'm going to use these here. I'm going to stick these in between so that I know that I have enough space. cage in there. Well, the main hoop in there. As you can see, I had to come a little bit off the number 1 bar, but it's okay because the roof up here is a lot further forward. So this is already to the back. It's a little bit of space. So I had to come up a little bit on it, but we have it in there. We just have a couple of tacks on both sides and on the other side also. But we have the main hoop in there, and then the main hoop is a little bit off 90, but only a tad bit, so we're doing pretty good with that. I took the seat out because it's kind of difficult trying to tack it with the seat in there. But next we'll be working on the halo bar for the roof. We still have 11 foot of material here. From Bentech, it told me I need 80 inches, which is about, I'll say 8 foot. That's an overestimate. Yeah, so like I was saying, I would need about, I'll say 7 foot more, because then that'll be 84. So 7 foot of that. So then I'll leave them with 4 foot left, for me to do maybe the down bars or maybe the up bars that go here. Yeah, so I'll probably be able to get the halo done. I'll probably be able to get these bars done, and then I have a 5 foot bar that is over here that I can use to go across the dash, which will take probably that whole piece, and then I'll just have 4 foot from this piece, and I probably will be, I don't know, maybe I'll be able to get these bars done, because there'll just be one straight piece that'll come from about this corner and come down along with this here up to about this point, because I want that dash bar to be about this high going across. It's more likely going to hit that spot with the steering wheel mount, but I probably go ahead and take that off, so it'll be just coming across here up to this point, and then the other bar will come down just like this. But that's it for today's video. It's just about putting in the main hoop. We got the main hoop in there, and like I said, you can even see just from the main hoop I'm able to shake the whole car. But it's just tacked in case I need to break them off. I can do that. And like I was telling you guys, as far as the back down bars, we'll get to that at a later time. Alright, YouTube, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be going ahead and making the halo bar tomorrow. You guys won't see that video till possibly next week, maybe, once I get that edit, because this video took a while. Even just making a main hoop bar takes a good little minute. So again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.